Hey guys, it's Adrian. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm here to bring you my August wrap up and my September TBR. I usually do these in two separate videos, but I'm not for two reasons. Number one, because I just got back from vacation and I'm kind of late and I have too many videos that I need to schedule, so I need to squish them into a couple of longer videos because I'm falling behind because it's already almost halfway through September. It's kind of an exaggeration, but you get what I mean. And I didn't even do my August wrap up or my September TBR yet. I'm rambling. Can you tell I haven't been in front of the camera for a while? The second reason is because August was kind of shameful. I didn't really read that much in August, and I'm not even sorry because I went on vacation and I thought I would have a lot of time to rest and read. But I spent so much time with my family, which was so more important. So I just didn't have a lot of reading time. And that's just what life does sometimes. Without further ado, let's just jump right in and start off with the books that I read in the month of August. I don't have any of these books because I either borrowed them or sent them off or they were audiobooks. But the first one that I finished, I actually talked about some in my July wrap-up because I was almost finished, and that is Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover. This is a book and it follows a girl named Tate and a guy named Miles, and Tate moves in with her brother and she's in the middle of transitioning into a nursing job and she's going into school, and Miles is a captain of an airplane, and Miles is a friend of Tate's brother, but he has some past issues, and basically they get into a relationship just for the sex because Miles is highly attracted to Tate even though he's not ready to fall in love with, and Tate goes along with it because that's a good idea apparently. This book was ridiculous. I will say that this book is totally a problematic book. There's no doubt about it. This is not a good idea. I knew problems were coming from the beginning. I do not recommend this kind of relationship to anyone, but it was so good. I never cry in books, and this book made my eyes water. I didn't cry, I did not shed tears, but I got teary-eyed, and that never happens to me. There were certain parts in this book that, maybe not the parts that you would expect to, but that really, really touched my heart. And one of my new favorite characters comes from this book is a guy named Cap. And he's an old guy, and he's a captain too, but not of an airplane. He's the captain of the elevator in the apartment building that Tate and Miles live in. And he is the most witty, lovable old guy I have ever read about. I love Cap. But anyway, I've heard Colleen Hoover books, either you love them or you hate them, and I can totally see why people hate them because they're garbage. But they're my guilty pleasure. I love them, and I totally plan on reading more Colleen Hoover books in the future. I gave this book a 4 stars. I liked it. Next up, I read Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix by J.K. Rowling. Obviously, I love this book. I gave it a 5 stars. I'm working my way through the Harry Potter series. This book was the book where Harry Potter was a little bit more whiny, and he was a little more melodramatic, and I totally understood why. Because the kid's got a rough life. And so the fact that he kind of whines, number one, he's a 15-year-old kid. Well, a 15-year-old kid doesn't whine. And number two, if the Dark Lord was after me, I would probably be scared out of my pants. So I don't care if he whines. It doesn't bother me. I liked it. I still will say, though, the first book is my favorite Harry Potter book because of the newness of it, because of the magic of it. And I haven't yet been able to find the Harry Potter book that lives up to it. For me anyway, it just has a special place in my heart. So the first one is still my favorite. If that should change, I will let you know as I read on further with the Harry Potter series. And the last book that I read in the month of August was The First Time She Drowned by Carrie Clutter. I read this as part of a traveling book club that Julie from Pages and Pens is hosting at the moment, and I've sent it on to the next reader. And the idea behind this traveling book club is that you read the book and you basically write in it things that you liked, your thoughts, your comments. I had some interesting ones to share. I am so curious to see what other people are going to write about in this book when Julie shows us all at the end. And it was a great story. It follows a girl named Cassie, and Cassie has been committed into a mental institution, and she is turning 18, and so she's going to be released. And it follows Cassie's relationship with her mother, and it's basically a messed up relationship. I don't really want to tell you anything more because you kind of find out more as it goes. With this book though, in the beginning, I didn't really like it. I didn't fully follow Cassie. I thought that it was a little bit repetitive at times, maybe a little bit chaotic in the writing style. But towards the end, the character development that happened in this book was phenomenal. Especially Cassie and how she grew into her own and how she came to accept things that happened in her life and her relationship with her mom and how that all played out. I absolutely loved it, and this book was also very heartbreaking as well. I thought it was good. I gave it a 3.5, 4 stars because of the beginning. I wasn't really into it, but it ended up being a book that I think had some of the best character developments that I've read in a while, and that says a lot. Moving on to my TBR for September. Trina from Between Chapters is doing Sequel September this year again, and I totally wanted to jump into that because I've been meaning to finish up some series and I keep putting them off. So I'm gonna do Sequel September, and I've got some sequels picked up here that I've been wanting to read for a while, and I'm gonna do it. So the first book I'm actually almost finished with. I started it the 1st of September and I'm almost done. I have 40 pages left, and that's Unbreakable by Elizabeth Norris. This is the second book to the Unraveling duology. I love this duology. I will say that the first book was much better than the second book. I think I talked about the first book in my July wrap-up because I read it for the booktubeathon, and the book blew me away. This one is not quite as good as the first book, but it was still very interesting. It's a thriller. It's got some sci-fi twist to it. It was great. I feel like all the sci-fi books that I've been reading this year have been total hits. I'm totally into like the multiverse and quantum mechanics lately, and it's just, and thrillers. I've been reading thrillers like crazy. I love thrillers. I have a thing for thrillers. Speaking of thrillers, if you have any good recommendations, leave them in the comments below because I'm in the mood for some thrillers. The next book on my TBR for Sequel September is A School for Good and Evil, A World Without Princes by Sanan Chinani. This is the second book to the School for Good and Evil trilogy. I think there's a 4th book coming out. Have I heard that there's a 4th book coming out? I can't quite remember, but it doesn't matter because this is the second book to the series, and it also fulfills one of my quarterly reading goals to read some middle grade. This is a middle grade book, so there you go. Win-win, sequel, and middle grade all in one. This is about a girl named Agatha and a girl named Sophie, and Agatha and Sophie are sent to the School for Good and Evil. Now, Sophie has been expecting this for quite some time, and she thinks that she's going to the School for Good. Agatha, on the other hand, could care less about the School for Good and Evil, but she's convinced that should she ever have to go, she'd end up in the School for Evil, and that is not how things played off. Sophie gets sent to the School for Evil, and Agatha gets sent to the School for Good, and the first book follows their adventures on trying to fix this situation. Agatha just wants to go home, and Sophie wants to be in the School for Good, and it's interesting. I have a review for the School for Good and Evil that I'll link for you up here in the description box. I found it a little bit problematic as a middle grade book, but reading it as an adult, I enjoyed it. So I'm curious to see if the problems that I found in it as middle grade kind of sort themselves out later in the series. But anyway, I plan on reading this, and I'm very excited to finish it. Here's a book that's been on my TBR for the last 3 months, and I'm still not done. I'm still on page 450, and that is The Hero of Ages by Brandon Sanderson. This is the 3rd book in the Mistborn trilogy. I started this book in June, and I had to put it down for I think it was the Swapathon. And then I finished some of it in July, and I had to put it down for the Booktubeathon. And I was supposed to start it in August, but I only had 9 days in August before I went on my trip to the States, and I just didn't have any time to read. I was so busy with everything, getting stuff ready, getting the house ready, getting all last minute appointments done, that this book takes a lot of concentration. I really love it, but I definitely have to like concentrate and sit down and read. But I think I have some time in September. So far, my reading month has been going great. I've been reading consistently every night, so I feel like things should be picking up again for me as far as my reading goes. Things have settled down now because my kids are in school, so it's gonna be a better month. So I have time to concentrate. I will be finishing this book. It's up next. I'm excited to see how the trilogy ends. And lastly, I know this is a bit of an ambitious one because it's quite a thick book, but I am excited for the new release that's coming out in September, but I obviously can't read it because I'm totally not caught up with the series, and that is Air Fire by Sarah J. Maas. This is the 3rd book in the Throne of Glass series. I'm sure you all know what Throne of Glass is about by now, so I'm not even gonna get into it. The first 2 books I read, the first one I thought was really good, the second one was kind of eh. But Jade from Jade Ray Reads read this book this past month, and she really enjoyed it, and she was having the same kind of issues that I was having with the first 2 books. So I'm excited to read it, and I want to finish more of this world. I want to see what happens. So if she liked it, hopefully I like it. Hopefully the series picks up. This was on one of my TBRs for a while ago as well that I just never read. Need to do it. Alright, those are the books that I plan on reading in the month of September. I feel good about the books that I've chosen, and I feel excited to read again now that things are back to normal. So I'm good to go. In the comments below, let me know what books you plan on reading for September. If you have a September TBR, leave a link to it in the comments. I'd love to go check it out because I'm always on the hunt for new books, and I love to know what you're reading as well. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up, and if you haven't already, I'd love for you to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and see you next time. Bye!